Also, first ever interchange in the northern region set for inauguration tomorrow.
And elsewhere in Africa, intimidation and vote buying mar by-elections in Zimbabwe. Independent elections observers condemn process. On GTV and on GBC News. My name is Jonathan Thompson.
And I am Samuela Quarter. We're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Robert Frimpong Manso will translate the news into sign language. And out to our first story. President Akufo-Addo, as part of measures to ease the COVID-19 restrictions on Sunday, March 28, 2022, announced the reopening of land and sea borders effective today. But the traders at Elubo, though excited about the news, were not too sure as to when the Ivorian side of the border will be opened.
Ghana, per a presidential directive on March 22, 2020, closed all its borders to curb the spread of COVID-19. Subsequently, the directive was reviewed with the reopening of the airspace amidst the enforcement of stringent COVID-19 prevention protocols. However, the reopening of land borders was put on hold, which brought in its wake whose livelihoods depended on the cross-border trade and movement of people. Business activities at Elubo in the Jomro municipality virtually came to a standstill, with shops closed and vehicles commuting to and from Côte d'Ivoire parked. Sunday's directive by the president for the reopening of the borders, though welcomed by many, the traders at Elubo are still contemplating as to when the Ivorian side of the border will be opened to ensure free flow of goods and services.
Now that it has opened, everybody is free. We thank God for that. Now, how to open the border, now I'm sure, inshallah, now business can go on. Those who are Ghanaians who enjoy the business.
Because 2 years I come there, save a cost, dollar cost, the same never be at top. And to a beer bar, $7 then to be
the Chief Executive for Jomro, Ms. Louisa Iris Adi, after discussions with the Immigration Service, the Customs Division of the GRA, and other major players, said all necessary measures have been put in place to ensure that businesses operated smoothly.
We'll have some discussions, and whatever I can do to support them, I will do so. Currently, we have these loans for women that we are giving out, and so we'll make sure that most of the traders or the market women will be supported so that they can come back and start their businesses.
The MP for Jomro, Madame Dorcas Afotope, was hopeful that businesses will gradually pick up to boost the local economy.
It's back to business at the Shia border post at Shia in the whole municipality of the Volta region. On Sunday night, the president announced the opening of all land and sea borders post-COVID-19 in his 28th broadcast. On day one of the reopening, human traffic or movement was slow and low. Many believe this will pick up the days ahead.
Ghana shut her frontiers at the peak of the coronavirus as it spread and devastated economies. This virtually brought business to a standstill. The Shia Post is one of such borders that was closed down. After 2 years of closure and as the world adjusts to the new normal, many businesses are opening again in an effort to jumpstart activities. In the President's 28th update to the nation on measures government is taking to minimize and halt the spread of the virus, he announced the reopening of all sea and land border posts in the country. GBC News visited the Shia border post, and it was evident that human movement in and out of the country through the border post was slow. But immigration officials believe this will improve over time.
With the announcement of the opening of the border, economic activities will surely pick up, and this will reflect in the movement of persons across the border in the coming days.
A health post has been set up to check the status of all who use the border as directed by the president. This is part of measures in place as announced for the reopening of the frontiers.
Today we are at Shia border post to ensure that those who are coming in and those who are going out have fully vaccinated with the COVID vaccine, we will check their card to make sure they are vaccinated. Yeah. And those who are not vaccinated, will vaccinate them.
Meanwhile, there was drama at the Shia border post when a Togolese woman who wanted to cross over to Ghana and do some business was refused entry because she had not vaccinated. After confrontations with health officials, she agreed to take the COVID jab on condition that prayers were set for her.
Amen. It took a lot of talking and a lot of clearing her doubts and debunking whatever theory she came with, because she came with the theory of 666, that the vaccine is antichrist, which was going to lead her to hell.
Meanwhile, the NDC Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram, Mr. Sam George, suggested that government recapitalize people whose businesses collapsed due to the closure of the land borders for the past 2 years. He is of the view that the mere reopening of the borders is not enough.
And the president has closed the borders, especially the border in Aflao, and he has destroyed the fabric that part of our country. You don't just open the borders and expect that people who were trading, you know, the micro economy, the small economy, the tabletop traders, those who kept the micro economy of the border towns running, you've kept them, you've killed the businesses for 2 years. Most of them have lost their capital. So you can't just open the borders and expect them to pick it up from where they used to be. The capital is gone. People need to recapitalize. If the man 2 years late is now opening the border, we won't celebrate him. He deserves no credit. Absolutely no credit.
We now go to the court, where the ECOWAS court has held that Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act of Nigeria does not conform with Article 9 of the African Commission on Human Rights and People's Rights and Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. The court has accordingly ordered Nigeria to amend that act in accordance with its obligations under Article 1 of the ACHPR. A charity organization in Nigeria, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SIRAP, sued Nigeria alleging violation of the rights to freedom of expression, information and other rights of human rights activists, journalists and social media users through the repressive use, interpretation and implementation of the Cybercrime Act. Suing party, the Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SIRAP, contended that since the passage of the Cybercrime Act, Nigeria has used its provisions to harass, intimidate, arrest, and unfairly prosecute users of social media, human rights activists, and journalists who expressed views perceived to be critical of the government. The applicant was seeking the court to make orders that will emphasize the incompatibility of the Cybercrime Act with provisions of the ACHPR and ICCPR. Nigeria, however, submitted that there is a pending application on the same issue before a national court and that any question of interpretation of Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act must be submitted to the domestic courts and not the ECOWAS court. Nigeria's submissions was, however, dismissed by the court. Nigeria further argued that the act was enacted in 2015 after it was subjected to the requisite constitutional and legal processes and that the applicant did not protest its passage. It was the case of Nigeria that the act was not enacted to muzzle the freedom of expression in Nigeria but to curtail criminal activities on the internet. For these reasons, Nigeria prayed the court to dismiss the suit, describing it as misplaced. The court held that the act denotes terms which are vague and arbitrary because they do not define the parameters or elements of the crime it typifies and cannot therefore pass the test of legality. The court also said it found no documentary or testimonial evidence to support claims by the applicant that several people were allegedly arrested for acts ranging from cyber talking to expressing personal opinions between 2015 and 2018 pursuant to the Cybercrime Act. The court dismissed the claims and another relief by the applicant for compensation.
We're still doing judicial matters. The Human Rights Division of the High Court has dismissed an interlocutory injunction filed by Member of Parliament for Medina against the Inspector General of Police, IGP, and his officers. The court, presided over by Justice Barbara Tetichawi, ruled that based on the nature of the substantive application, the notion for injunction is inappropriate.
In court on Monday, March 28, the Human Rights Court, after ruling on the application, directed the parties to file the written submissions by April 15. The parties are to return to court on April 27, 2022, for a date to be fixed for judgment. The Member of Parliament for Medina, Mr. Francis Xavier Susu, is praying the court to stop the IGP from any attempt to infringe on his rights. He also prayed for an interlocutory injunction against the IGP and his officers from attempting to arrest, investigate, and maliciously prosecute him. In the substantive matter, the MP is asking the court to enforce his rights and order for the enforcement of his right to free movement, protest, demonstration, and personal liberty, among others, as stipulated under Article 14(1), 22(1), and 33 of the 1992 Constitution. Now, all is set for the inauguration of the Tamale Interchange tomorrow, Tuesday, 29th March 2022, the first of its kind in northern Ghana. The project is expected to improve traffic flow in the central business district of the regional capital, Tamale, and give the city a facelift. On Monday morning, the Metropolitan Chief Executive of Tamale, Mr. Sule Salifu, led the Metropolitan Assembly's task force to demolish some unapproved structures along the interchange. The task force removed tables and some containers on the shoulders of the road along the interchange as part of efforts to beautify the city ahead of the inauguration.
Tamale Interchange project is part of the $5 billion road infrastructure project under the Sino-Hydro Master Project signed between Ghana and China. The interchange is intended to ease traffic congestion within the central business district and beautify the city. The Metropolitan Chief Executive of Tamale also used the occasion to appeal to residents of the metropolis to observe traffic regulations on the highway to minimize accidents after the inauguration.
We want to talk to the traders to desist from selling around the interchange, because we have instructed the Ghana Police Service and the task force to arrest the people and prosecute them. We want to take this measure to serve as a deterrent to others who would want to try to see what will happen, because the investment that has gone into the construction of this interchange is huge, and it is only proper that we derive the needed benefits.
The contractors were also seen putting finishing touches to the project, cleaning the road and putting in road markings.
Now, you may have heard before that marrying a woman from Kobo land assures you of a good home, since they are reputed to be good homemakers. This was attributed to Depot, a puberty rite for young Kobo girls, where they are equipped with basic home science to help them run a home. Depot is a unifier, reminding all of the people's rich culture. Arguably, that enviable tag no longer holds true today. The reason, some say, is because the concept of Depot has been adulterated or even lost. They say, sadly, that Depot today is mere fanfare and does not pass on the needed moral lessons to the young girls. GBC News' Clara Mlano was at the Nene Okumo Shrine at Mampong in the Lower Manya Krobo municipality and shares with us the essence of Dipo in the 21st century. This is part of our Heritage Month series.
For many years, the Krobos of southern Ghana have proudly maintained their unique identity and culture through Dipo, a girls' nobility rite of passage for young Krobo girls. The revered ceremony initiates the girls into manhood and stands them apart from other tribes. According to history, Dipo was instituted by Nana Kluweki, a priestess known traditionally as Jemeli, during their stay at the Kloyum or the Krobo Mountain, following a complaint by the girls to have a similar ceremony as was performed then for young boys. The girls or virgins undergo the rites to prepare them for marriage when they have their first menstrual cycle. Then, the girls are confined for a whole year and trained in various aspects of home science such as cooking, washing, cleaning, and how to care for a husband and family. This is under the tutelage of experienced women. During that period of confinement, the girls are also taken through specific rituals to give meaning to being a Kluyo, Krobo lady. There is the Soni, Laku, and then the visit to the river for a special bath and the sacred stone. Throughout the period, they are not allowed to eat outside the shrine and are fed on meals of yam, drink rain or well water, and must walk barefoot for the entire period. Over time, the 1 year duration was cut back to 6 months, then 4, 1 month, then to a few weeks, and completely whittled down now to days. For this particular ceremony, the girls were housed for 4 days, from Friday to Monday. Over time, opinion leaders and the Manya Krobo Queen Mothers Association tried to change the face. For instance, the girls were made to cover themselves and even received certificates at the end of its session, but that did not last. In the past, girls who got pregnant without undergoing Dipo are banished from the community. Till date, a typical Krobo home that still upholds the tradition have either cut ties with some women or young girls and hence are not welcome in their homes for refusing to take part in the Dipo ceremony. Even though it is believed that Dipo brings good fortune and makes the Krobo woman successful in marriage, some parents and guardians allow their girls to go through the ceremony simply to have a sense of belonging. It is during this period that the girls are taught the Klama dance, which is now a ceremonial dance associated with the people of
I'm not a fetish priest. We initiated the puberty rite many years ago.
It might not be of value to you, but just as the Ashantis respect Bragro, the Maasai in Kenya cherish the ritual killing of the lion to indicate attainment of warrior status. The reed dances for maidens in Swaziland and South Africa's Zulu ladies, or even the ritual circumcision for boys in South Africa, the leaders in the Krobo community say the tradition will continue. They say discontinuing Dipo in Krobo land is akin to scrapping cultural events held dear and revered by people in different parts of the world, be it in Africa, Asia, or America. For GBC News, Clara Mlano reporting.
We now go to the presidency. The government is introducing innovation in agriculture by digitizing the sector to make it thrive and more attractive to investors. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said this move will shape the success in future farming to enable players to compete favorably with other sectors. At a meeting with agricultural students career guidance and mentorship dialogue bootcamp members at the Jubilee House in Accra, Dr. Bawumia said when the entire value chain of agriculture is digitized, work in the sector will be less complex, especially for the youth.
Agricultural Students Career Guidance and Mentorship Dialogue Bootcamp is a practical beginner agribusiness initiative designed to develop the expertise of Greek students, beginner agribusinesses and startups, while also exposing them to the dynamics of the market through education and leadership programs essential to success in agriculture and agribusiness. It seeks to develop youth and students' leadership, discuss the challenges and opportunities in the corporate world of agribusiness, the value chain system, farm management skills in beginner farmers or agriculturists, and teach them to apply lessons and knowledge acquired to their businesses. It is an initiative of AgriHouse Foundation. The bootcamp is the fifth since its inception 5 years ago. It is christened Digitalization, the Enabler, the Game Changer and Future for the Agri-Youth. The Executive Director of AgriHouse Foundation, Ms. Alberta Akosa-Sapong, said more must be done to attract the youth to the sector.
We need agribusiness to be more attractive. We need agri to be more appealing. We need agri to be more action-oriented than talk-oriented. We need to live good lives, enjoy a good lifestyle through agribusiness. We need agri to be more youthful and much more relatable to the young ones.
The patron Agricultural Students Career Guidance and Mentorship Dialogue Bootcamp, Dr. Zenato Ajimai Rollins, challenged the students to develop synergies among themselves to build their innovative ideas.
Anyone who understands agri appreciates the fact that there is a synergy that happens for things to work properly. And as you move towards working towards having your own businesses, remember the synergy is important. If you understand the dynamics of what it takes to make your group work, you can minimize the conflicts and allow the progress on your team.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, said introducing digitization will remove the bottlenecks in the agriculture sector, which will eventually attract investment in the sector.
The application of technological processes to change the ways and means by which we perform economic activities and how individuals, businesses interact with each other and with government agencies and institutions. From the farm to the factory floor to the office, we are digitizing how we collect data, how we store data, and use data to improve economic activities. We see digitization as a way of de-risking the agricultural sector.
The fifth Agricultural Students Career Guidance and Mentorship Dialogue Bootcamp is scheduled for 28th March to 1st April 2022 in Accra and has in attendance 28 tertiary institutions, including agricultural colleges in the country.
You're still live on News Hour right here on GBC News and on GTV. We take a quick break. Stay with us.
Tell them I'm not in, eh? Tell them.
And they call me UJ. Oh, yeah, yeah. When you need a shoulder to cry, run on my pumpy, so we try was suicide. Yeah, let bygone be bygone. I didn't see what the bottom gonna do, we go straight to stardom. And I'm gonna take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The energy next level.
Goodness level. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Oh, today he has been extra sweet, and the way he looks at me.
I have done everything by the book. It's on. Hey, but I have to get some condoms, Charlie.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner from HIV, STIs, and unplanned pregnancy. Condoms are an effective way for protection against HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria? Lufat.
In Jija, woman malaria and kawan to them. Lufat, a malaria drop a cope.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center. And I Lufat. Lufat, a two malaria sententem. FDA, Ashasa, a Jedi in Kratoi Ajatu.
From 1921 to 2021, the journey to our centenary has been amazingly worthy. Azar Group is 100 years and continues to achieve greatness.
Main brands which were in the company are Azar Tex, which is an emulsion paint, texture paints, which we were the first people to produce it in Ghana, and Azar Gloss, which is oil paint. We were the first people to produce the carpenter's glue. Now we have new products like silicone paint.
Join Azar Group celebrate 100 years and to create another brilliant 100 years together.
Hey, tell me more. Tell me more. Hey, tell me more. Tell me beer.
They ma worry me. Watch me, you come 1 week, Mr. WBT. Oh, now who
yes. Buga, nade. Senior, me and you cut down my business is a collapse. I'm out of balance.
So who take quick credit in Ghana?
Quick credit?
Yes, quick credit. Who pesika? Eddie actually would we a government and a private worker. Who pesika they are till hot so. We are Bosumi Juma. Who yes, Sikadia be temper so. Quick credit, Bema will loan. And what you are in Kakaka. Now, and let just some Cassian say. A collateral free loaner, Susu, savings, account opening, and a deposit as MBL. You hear me say, Ghana card. 2022 year, 1 year Juma, now 1 hour. Who need excuse here? Quick credit to 03022 00390 and 05969 20833. But see na quick credit.
Now we take the business news brought to you by MTN and Quick Credit. An economist, Eric J. Bafo, says the opening of the land borders will engender economic growth and increase volume of trade between Ghana and neighboring countries in the ECOWAS market. The opening of the borders, which was announced by President Akufo-Addo Monday, 28 March 2022, follows a comprehensive review of a raft of measures geared towards the fight against COVID-19.
Currency no MY. Safer no was through. Since safer is 14 CD. I stand up 1,000 safer. And the about here now you won't be big kakramai. Oh, but and they close so on say near my de beti me about nipa untiminko. Near my
safer 14 Tinia man you go follow on no more. Ni boy dindodo nipa no obegina ho a untiminto. But say omo bio now so no. Inside one year man no omo unti so ye. On a problem, no. Omunti so musu say dollars wa kosoro. It is a problem kesi ama ye pa. Say ye be border na ampa dia. O ma ye hu na o mutiti ni o masoma ye. Evi say na sika ekuta me amede ba ye no. Me hwe ne o makito ye some a. Wo baka say o mabu mi. Esu bi sika na ne o ma na mafu.
Saban adum ye no so abie dia. Ene ye da na se nim se fa no bebe fam. Ama ye nso ye ho atoye.
Oh, wa bie ndie be boa ye. So wa bie ndie ne be boa ye. Wo bu sa se fa fo na. O mo se across the border. This is for now, my Hanusa. And to one price, won't be an old age.
But then they were being Cabre Boy, but safe and intiminco. Gentlemen, over what I did not to go more. What about the talk on you talk on him safe?
The African Development Bank, FDB, group is to inject $2.8 billion into the South African economy over the next 5 years. The bank will also pump $400 million into the country's ailing electricity distributor, Eskom, as it transitions to renewable energies. One of Africa's sophisticated economies continue to suffer protracted power interruptions for years.
Economic growth has been slow in the southern African country since 2010, culminating into a recession in 2018. The slow growth is largely spurred by irregular power supply as the country struggles to close its power consumption deficit of 4,000 megawatts. Eskom, the country's energy distributor, has received substantial investment over the years, but that has not helped matters. Speaking at the fourth Invest in South Africa conference in Johannesburg, President Cyril Ramaphosa outlined measures aimed at restructuring Eskom.
This partnership will involve repurposing and repowering some of the coal plants that are reaching the end of their lives and creating new livelihoods for workers, for communities who are going to be most impacted by the change. All this work is part of the economic recovery, reconstruction and recovery plan that we put in place in October 2020 in response to the devastation to our economy by COVID-19. And it is aimed at driving growth, creating more jobs in the aftermath of the pandemic.
To facilitate the process, the African Development Bank will inject $400 million into the operations of Eskom. That aside $2 billion 5-year investment into the country. The president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Adishina, is confident about the bankability of South Africa.
As South Africa moves towards energy transition, the African Development Bank will strongly support your efforts. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, net zero cannot be achieved with zero financing. The African Development Bank is preparing a 6 billion rand support, which will be $400 million, towards the support of Eskom in its transition to renewable energy. I applaud the G7 countries for their commitment of $8.5 billion to South Africa's just energy transition. Mr. President, the African Development Bank, working in partnership with international partners, especially the G7 countries, plans to establish a just energy transition facility that will support South Africa to raise at least $27 billion to support its energy transition into renewable energy.
South Africa, through its annual investment conference, is opening its doors after a 2018 recession and COVID-19 for investment into key sectors such as health, digitalization, and energy.
Let's now look at the Interbank and Commodity Board for today.
you need a shoulder to cry, run on my pampe, so we try our suicide. Yeah, let bygone be bygone. I didn't see what I'm gonna do. We go straight to stardom. I'm gonna take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The energy next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't go next level. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Oh, today he has been extra sweet, and the way he looks at me.
I have done everything by the book. It's on. Hey, but I have to get some condoms, Charlie.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner from HIV, STIs, and unplanned pregnancy. Condoms are an effective way for protection against HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria. Lufat.
Injija woman malaria and kawon to them. Lufat, a malaria drop a cope.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center. And I Lufat. Lufat, a two malaria sententem. FDA, Ashasa, a Jedi in Kratoi Ajatum.
From 1921 to 2021, the journey to our centenary has been amazingly worthy. Azar Group is 100 years and continues to achieve greatness.
Main brands which were in the company are Azar Tex, which is an emulsion paint, texture paints, which we were the first people to produce it in Ghana, and Azar Gloss, which is oil paint. We were the first people to produce the carpenter's glue. Now we have new products like silicone paint.
Join Azar Group celebrate 100 years and to create another brilliant 100 years together.
Hey, tell me what? Tell me what? Hey, tell me what? Tell me, beer.
They ma worry me. Watch me, you come 1 week, Mr. Oh, now who papa?
Yes.
Oga, nade.
Senior, name me and you ma cut down my business is a collapse. I'm out of balance.
So who take quick credit in Ghana?
Quick credit?
Yes, quick credit. Who pesika? We are government and a private worker. Who pesika they are till hot so. We are busumi ejuma. Who yes sikadi bibin tempai so. Quick credit be ma loan. And what you are kakra. Na enije sem kese ne say. A collateral free loaner, susu, savings, account opening, and a deposit as MBL. The here say, Ghana card. 2022 year, 1 year Juma, now one hour young. Who need excuse here? For quick credit to 03022 00390 and 05969 20833. But still not quick credit.
And they call me Eugene. When you need a shoulder to cry, run on my pampe, so we try our suicide. Yeah, let bygone be bygone. I didn't see what I'm gonna do. We go straight to stardom. I'm gonna take you to next level. My baby, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The energy next level.
Goodness level. Excessive drinking can be detrimental to health. Not recommended for persons under 18 years, lactating mothers, pregnant women, and people sensitive to caffeine. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Oh, today he has been extra sweet, and the way he looks at me.
I have done everything by the book. It's on. Hey, but I have to get some condoms, Charlie.
To cushion petroleum consumers may be difficult, he said. Government should have removed some of the taxes on the product. Dr. Suleimana said the National Petroleum Authority (NPA) must engage the OMCs and BDCs to find out how best some of the margins can be reduced. He believes the NPA must strictly monitor the deregulation policy to prevent overpricing.
If you look at the price build-up carefully, it's a triangular shape with these three key stakeholders. We have the PSP, that's petroleum service providers, OMCs and BDCs. We have the government of Ghana, and then we have the consumer. These are the three guys who make up the spectrum. Now let's look at the fact that assuming these margins are down, all right, and then it will create what we call a kind of space where potentially OMCs can go out with their margins. And I can tell you that once they touch this margin that they have touched and OMCs start to increase their margin, it's going to nullify that. A good call, but a difficult one. They need to sit down with them, especially with NPA, who is the regulator, to see how they can work it out. And I also think that NPA need to do a lot more to monitor the deregulation that we have closely, because whenever there's a space anywhere, somebody wants to jump onto that. In terms of space, asking where somebody can increase the margins or somebody can.
We now bring you some data on national power generation, Ghana's power export figures, and the water level in the Akosombo and Bui dams.
TV and sound system. High sensitive pro adrenaline tiasia so na brel. Model bia. Size.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner from HIV, STIs, and unplanned pregnancy. Condoms are an effective way for protection against HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
The groom is sick.
What?
Malaria.
Malaria. Lufat.
In Jija, woman malaria and kawon to them. Lufat, a malaria drop a cope.
And now you may kiss the bride.
Entrance Pharmaceuticals and Research Center. And I Lufat. Lufat, a two malaria sententem. FDA, Ashesa, a dead in Kratoi Ajatu.
From 1921 to 2021, the journey to our centenary has been amazingly worthy. Azar Group is 100 years and continues to achieve greatness.
Main brands which were in the company are Azar Tex, which is an emulsion paint, texture paints, which we were the first people to produce it in Ghana, and Azar Gloss, which is oil paint. We were the first people to produce the carpenter's glue. Now we have new products like silicone paint.
Join Azar Group celebrate 100 years and to create another brilliant 100 years together.
Hey, tell me more. Tell me more. Hey, tell me more. Tell me.
Beer.
They ma worry me. Watch me, you come 1 week, Mr. WBT. Oh, now who
yes. Buga, nade.
Senior, you ma cut down my business is a collapse. I'm a
so won't take quick credit in Ghana.
Quick credit?
Yes, quick credit. Who pesika? We are government and our private worker. Who pesika they are till hot so. We are busumi ejuma. Who yes sikadi bibin tempai so. Quick credit be ma loan. And what you are kakra. Na enije sem kese ne say. A collateral free loaner, susu, savings, account opening, and a deposit as MBA. The here say, Ghana card. 2022 year, 1 year Juma, now one hour young. Who need excuse here? Quick credit to 03022 00390 and 05969.
The ECOWAS region is reported to have malaria, with children under 5 accounting for more than 2/3 of malaria deaths. It is for this reason the ECOWAS Parliamentary Network on Malaria Elimination in Accra and are calling on member states with malaria endemic status to focus on malaria control efforts to save more lives. A report by Sarah Furi.
The ECOWAS region still carries a heavy burden of the disease, with nearly half of all malaria cases and deaths in the world. In 2020-2021, the fight against malaria got even harder due to the COVID pandemic. The spread of the pandemic presented a major threat to millions of families at risk of malaria, to our fragile health systems in malaria-affected countries, and decades of progress against malaria.
Malaria is a major public health problem in Africa. As Professor Sheila said before me, our malaria cases are increasing. In the malaria report, our African region accounted for 95% of all malaria cases in the world and 96% of all the deaths. And all these deaths, 80% of them were in children under the age of 5. This is not acceptable.
Malaria exerts a heavy toll on households, not only in terms of pain and illness, but also in terms of health spending, school absenteeism, and reduced work output. We have made some significant progress in reducing the disease burden in the ECOWAS region, but much more needs to be done.
And that's it for Health, brought to you by Lufat, to bring us premium gifts to Africa. Jonathan Thompson is standing by for more stories.